Do you know what the most common symptom of the era we live in is? It isn't anxiety, even though millions suffer from it. It isn't depression, even though it devastates entire populations. It's something much more subtle, much more insidious, much harder to name. It's the inability to feel joy. You can have everything you thought would make you happy. The job, the partner, the house, the trips, the experiences you post on social media with smiles that don't reach your eyes. And yet, inside, nothing. Emptiness, indifference, as if you were watching life through a fogged-up pane of glass. You eat your favorite food and it tastes like nothing. You listen to music that used to move you and now it's just background noise. You hug someone you love and you feel nothing in particular, as if something fundamental had switched off inside you and you can't remember how to turn it back on. Does it sound familiar? Because if it does, you need to listen to this carefully, because it turns out this problem isn't new. And one of the most extraordinary geniuses in human history, Nikola Tesla, not only experienced it firsthand, but understood its root cause in a way modern psychology is only beginning to grasp. And what he discovered is unsettling, devastating, and completely liberating if you have the courage to look it in the face. Today we're going to talk about why nothing brings you joy, why life feels flat, grey, devoid of meaning despite your efforts to fill it with stimulation. And we're going to uncover what Tesla knew that most people have forgotten. Because the answer isn't in getting more things. It isn't in changing jobs or cities or partners. It isn't in traveling more or buying more or experiencing more. The answer is in something you've lost. Something modern civilization stole from you without you realizing it. Something Tesla identified more than a century ago, and no one wanted to hear. Get ready, because this is going to question everything you were told about happiness, progress, and the meaning of life. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in what is now Croatia. From childhood, he showed extreme neurological sensitivity. He saw flashes of light that others didn't see. He heard frequencies others didn't perceive. His nervous system was tuned to a different frequency from everyone else. Some would call it a gift, others a curse. Tesla simply accepted it as his reality. But what makes Tesla relevant to your existential emptiness isn't his revolutionary inventions. It isn't alternating current or the coil or his visions of wireless energy. It's something far more personal, far more intimate. Tesla experienced, for long periods of his life, a profound inability to feel pleasure. Clinical anhedonia, modern psychiatry would call it, the death of joy. And instead of medicating, instead of distracting himself, instead of resigning himself, he did something extraordinary. He observed, he analyzed, he sought to understand the mechanism behind this inner death. And he arrived at a conclusion the industrial society of his time didn't want to hear. A conclusion your current technological society still doesn't want to accept. The conclusion is this: joy doesn't come from external stimulation. It comes from inner resonance. Let me explain what that means, because it's the key to everything. Tesla understood reality as frequencies. Everything in the universe vibrates. Atoms vibrate. Cells vibrate. Thoughts vibrate. Emotions vibrate. Every object, every being, every experience has its own unique vibrational signature. And you, as conscious biological systems, are also vibrational antennas, constantly receiving, processing, and emitting frequencies. Joy, in Tesla's terms, isn't the result of accumulating pleasurable stimuli. It's the state that emerges when your inner system is in harmonious resonance with your true nature. It's like tuning a guitar. When the strings are tuned correctly, each note sounds clear, pure, vibrant. When they're out of tune, even if you play the same melody, it sounds discordant, dull, dead. You are out of tune. And you've been out of tune for so long, you no longer even remember what harmony sounds like. Now then, what put you out of tune? What broke your natural resonance? Tesla knew, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. It was the industrialization of human life, the conversion of the human being into a productive unit, the replacement of organic rhythm with mechanical time, the systematic disconnection from everything that anchors you to your essential nature. You live in cages of concrete and metal. You breathe recycled air. You stare at bright screens for hours. You eat food grown with chemicals and processed in factories. You follow schedules dictated by clocks instead of natural cycles. Your skin doesn't touch the earth. Your feet don't walk barefoot. Your eyes don't see the horizon. And you wonder why you don't feel anything. Tesla saw it coming. He saw how the electrification of the world, though technologically necessary, was disconnecting humanity from the natural frequencies that had regulated life for millennia. He wasn't a Luddite. He didn't reject progress. He pushed it forward himself. But he warned that we had to maintain our connection to the natural while embracing the technological, that we had to evolve without losing our roots. No one listened. Industrial capitalism was in a hurry. Profit doesn't wait for balance. The machine must keep running. So you built this world, efficient, productive, digitally connected, humanly disconnected. And now you live with the consequences, collective anhedonia, an entire civilization that has lost the ability to feel genuine joy. But there's something even deeper, something Tesla intuited, and modern neuroscience is confirming. Your brain is overloaded, constantly bombarded by stimuli designed to capture attention, social media, news, advertising, notifications, infinite content competing for your seconds, and each stimulus generates a micro-release of dopamine, a small chemical hit of anticipatory pleasure, not real pleasure, the pleasure of expectation. Scroll, dopamine, click, dopamine, notification, dopamine, like, dopamine, tiny hits, constantly, for hours every day. Do you know what happens when you bombard dopamine receptors constantly with low intensity but high frequency stimuli? They become desensitized, they atrophy, they need more and more stimulation to generate the same response. It's chemical tolerance, the same mechanism that turns casual drug users into addicts who need ever larger doses just to feel something. You are addicts, addicted to constant microdoses of digital dopamine that have burned out your ability to feel deep pleasure. That's why the things that used to excite you now bore you. That's why you constantly need novelty, more extreme experiences, more intense stimulation. Not because you're hard to please, but because you've damaged the neurological hardware that processes joy. Tesla didn't have social media, but he had something analogous. He had a mind that couldn't stop, obsessive thoughts, constant calculations, visions that appeared without pause. And he discovered that the only antidote was radical silence, extended periods in which he cut off all external stimulation, allowing his nervous system to recalibrate. Not New Age meditation, literal silence, no light, no sound, no movement, for hours, sometimes days. And after those periods, the world regained color. Sounds recovered their richness. Ideas flowed with clarity. Joy returned. Not because he had added something, because he had removed the noise that prevented natural resonance. You need the same, but you won't do it, because silence terrifies you. Being alone with your mind without distractions is unbearable, because without the constant noise, you have to face what you've been avoiding. The emptiness, the lack of purpose, the unanswered questions about what you're doing with your life. So you keep scrolling, you keep consuming, you keep searching for the next stimulus that will make you feel something. And every day you sink deeper into anhedonia. But there's another dimension, more fundamental still. Tesla spoke about purpose, not purpose as an abstract motivational concept, purpose as a resonant function. He believed every human being is born with a unique frequency, a specific note they are meant to play in the symphony of existence. And that genuine, lasting, deep joy only emerges when you are vibrating at that frequency, when you are doing what you are designed to do, when your natural talents are expressed in service of something greater than yourself, when your life has intrinsic direction and meaning. But most of you don't live that way. You live in jobs you hate, to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't care about. George Carlin's words, but an eternal truth. You've sold your unique frequency for economic security, for social approval, for mediocre comfort, and your essential being screams in protest, not with words, but with emptiness, with anhedonia, with the inability to feel joy because you're living a life that isn't yours. Tesla rejected marriage, family, conventional comfort, not because he was superior, but because he knew those things, for him specifically, would be distractions from his essential frequency. He isn't telling you to do the same. He's telling you to discover your own frequency, to stop living the life others designed for you, to have the courage to resonate authentically, even if it isolates you, even if it impoverishes you, even if it makes you incomprehensible to most people, because the alternative is what you're experiencing now: external success, internal emptiness, lives that look perfect on Instagram but feel hollow in private. And this is where we connect with something Tesla understood deeply: the nature of energy. All energy seeks to express itself. If you block it, it stagnates. If it stagnates, it corrupts. If it corrupts, it becomes illness. You are conscious energy, and that energy has natural impulses of expression, creativity, connection, contribution, exploration, play. But modern society channels all your energy into economic production, into consumption, into predefined roles that serve the system but leave you exhausted. You get home after 8, 10, 12 hours fulfilling a function you didn't choose, and you have no energy left for anything else. No energy to create, to connect deeply, to explore your real interests. So you collapse in front of screens, passively consuming content designed by algorithms to maximize engagement, not enrichment. And you wonder why you don't feel joy. It's because all your vital energy is being drained by systems that don't serve you, and what little remains you waste on distractions that numb you but don't nourish you. Tesla worked obsessively, but on his own thing, his calling, his frequency, and that didn't exhaust him, it energized him. Because energy that flows in its natural direction regenerates. Energy forced in directions contrary to its nature is consumed and doesn't return. Now, let's be practical. What do you do with this? First, you need to admit the problem. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You don't necessarily need more antidepressants. You need to reconnect with your natural frequency, and that requires 3 fundamental things. 1, radical silence. Regular periods where you cut off all external stimulation. Turn off your phone. Turn off your computer. Sit in stillness. Allow your nervous system to recalibrate. It isn't comfortable. The first few days you'll be bombarded by anxious thoughts, by urges to check notifications, by physical discomfort. Hold on. It's withdrawal. You're detoxing from digital dopamine. After several days, something changes. The mind quiets. The senses sharpen. Small things regain texture, flavor, meaning. 2, connection with nature. Touch the earth. Walk barefoot. Look at trees. Watch water flowing. Feel yourself as part of something larger than your mental narrative. It sounds hippie. It doesn't matter. It works. Because you are biologically designed to resonate with natural frequencies. Millions of years of evolution aren't erased by decades of urbanization. When you reconnect with nature, something in you sighs with relief. It isn't placebo. It's fundamental biology switching back on. 3, authentic expression. Discover what makes you feel alive when no one is watching. What you would do if money weren't an issue. What topics fascinate you for no practical reason. And devote regular time to that. Not after you've fulfilled all your obligations, first, as a priority, because that is your essential frequency trying to express itself. If it's art, make art. If it's music, play music. If it's writing, write. If it's building things, build. If it's helping people, help. It doesn't matter if you're good. It doesn't matter if it makes money. What matters is that you're resonating. And when you resonate authentically, joy emerges naturally, not as the result of external achievement, but as the natural state of a system in harmony with itself. Tesla knew this. That's why he could work 20 hours a day on his inventions and feel ecstasy, not because he was a masochist, because he was in total resonance with his purpose. You can experience the same, but it requires courage. It requires letting go of what you are not in order to embrace what you are. It requires disappointing others' expectations. It may require financial instability. It requires walking alone for a while. And most people aren't willing. They prefer the safety of a familiar emptiness to the risk of an uncertain fullness. That's why nothing brings you joy, because you chose security over authenticity, approval over expression, comfort over meaning, and your essential being, your unique frequency, has withered from lack of use. But it isn't irreversible. It's never too late as long as you're alive. You can start today, now, with an hour of silence, with a walk without your phone, with 15 minutes devoted to something that fascinates you for no practical reason. Small steps, consistent, toward your real frequency, and you'll notice something extraordinary. The world starts to have color again. Food tastes better. Music sounds richer. Conversations have depth. Not because the world has changed, but because you've tuned your inner instrument again. And when you're tuned, when you resonate in your natural frequency, joy isn't something you search for outside. It's what you are. That was Tesla's secret. That is your path back to life. The question is, will you have the courage to change? If you made it to the end, comment "I've made it," and I'll personally reply. And if this content resonated with you, subscribe to be part of it, and hit like if you enjoyed it. See you next time.